video time. We're shooting this again because our battery died. No, just wanted to do a CIF kit overview video today because I've been collecting this stuff for over 6 years, and ATG Armory Kevin, he recently made a video covering his PSD loadout. So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, in the world of LARPing, there are a lot of rangers, a lot of dev crew guys, a lot of people from CAG. I just feel like, particularly with the US Army CIF teams, we could use some love, and I wanted to contribute. And now we're fucked. Now we're fucked in the ass, right? Cause some fucking dumb help provide some guidance to guys that are looking to start or haven't decided what type of kit they were looking to build. Maybe I can give you some guidance with regards to, you know, building a CIF kit. So with full disclosure, no military experience, no LE experience. I just go overseas, do a bit of shooting, play airsoft, go to events and whatnot. Starting off with really the kit here, I actually started with the AVS for my CIF build, mainly because, you know, this is one of the most prolific carriers that has been issued in USA SOC. The only really downside is that it's super bulky. You know, we're based in Asia, so we do a lot of we have to transport this in pelicans or in duffel bags, and it's just very bulky to move around with. And second of all, you know, this is a small plate bag, but because of the fact that if you want to go kosher, you have to get the MBAV variant, and the MBAV comes in 2 sizes, which is small and medium and large and extra large. So essentially this is a medium-sized plate bag, which is a very Asian issue. But for me, I've decided to make the transition away from the AVS into the JPC. Starting with the JPC here. Oh, where should I start? I have the SNS position flip light. Again, I mentioned it in our last video. ATEC is super important to have, and the fact that the flip light system is model agnostic, so you can essentially run any type of phone that fits in the configuration there. And another reason why I got it is because I'm a retard, and I bought the S21 version of the sleeve case, which was never issued to the CIF teams. Here we have the S20, which is the clone correct one. So this is a friend's. We borrowed it for the video, but that's why I have the SNS flip light. Yeah, in terms of some of the garments that we wear, this is a Nike wrist coach. We use it for aesthetic purposes, but obviously with some of the skirmishes that we play here, we get like, please blur all of this. Okay. We have access to sort of like the layouts and the floor plan, so it's useful, but mainly I know that the CIF guys are running this, and it's quite prolific on special operations. Actually, this is something that we picked up recently, and we thought it was really cool to sort of, you know, again, break up the multicam, and we've been using these since last year or the year before. And then on the side here, V60.
Because this is what it's all about, right? Motherfucking cock-sucking money.
I've covered it in the last video, you know the drill. I'll be running more radios, like 2 radios in the future, so a PTT that could take 2 radios is great. Moving on to the placard here. This is mounted on a Cry Molly flap, which is nothing special. And then in the middle here, this is a First Spear Triple Ranger shingle. Particularly this one has 3 rows of Molly, which is less common compared to the 2 Molly variant. And one of the reasons why we want the 3 Molly variant is because if you mount any sort of elastic pouches or placard in front, it sits flush in the bottom. Whereas if you run a 2 Molly variant, this will shift lower and you have material extending at the bottom here. And Legionnaire Tactical Review, I think, he's also a CIF guy. He actually noted this because it can interfere with sling manipulations. I've kept the one with the 3 rows of moly. And then in front here, this is a pretty iconic piece of placard for the CIF teams. This was made by 21st Century Tactical, and I think for the longest of time we were trying to identify, as a community, we were trying to identify who made this elastic placard thing. But essentially, it's a Blue Force Gear triple elastic mag pouch, but with flaps. And what we saw CIF teams do was run this as like a utility pouch. So most oftenly you see flashbangs. I have some props here in terms of like a deck cord and an ignition device, but this mainly was for utility purposes. You can stick a mag in there, but this flap won't close essentially. So this is what I have here. Super iconic piece. If you want to sort of get started on a CIF kit, I would hunt for this. Anyways, on the side here, 2 ambiter pouches for radios, of course, but also water. Hydration is super important. So we usually run our radios at the back, which I will talk about later, and we have space to carry stuff on the side of our torso. So usually we have water or radios there. And then down here, this is a TIR Tactical abdominal panel, armor panel thing. Very prolific among the CIF teams. This version I have here is the newer version with the multicam elastic. The older version will have a coyote brown elastic for chem sticks. I think both are kosher, both are used. Very iconic CIF piece, and yeah, also a little Gen 7 cat tourniquet here for aesthetic purposes. Anyways, moving to the back here. This is actually a very interesting pouch. So we saw these with the CIF teams, I think back in 2020. 10th group had them, and we saw them sort of dotted around the years up until 2020. Team Room Design had these as well, but essentially this is a configuration of pouches for an assaulter or a breacher, because you have 3 sort of pouches that are essentially sized for the 9 bangs, and then you have 2 admin pouches here, which are sized for the M81 ignition device, and as well as you have a bit of capacity to store deck cords. But this is a replica of the actual thing. I think the guys made these were either custom made or made by actual CIF dudes. But this one's a replica made by a Japanese company known as 3 Made Issue. We managed to secure like a small batch of them, and it's a really iconic CIF piece, so we have it at the back. On the sides, at the lower part here, we have 2 Tactical Tailor soft LCS mag pouches. These are not super common with CIF teams. I think I've seen 2 pictures of this sort of set up, but I like it because it's not generic. And I can always swap this out with a TIR horizontal pouch if I needed a bit more capacity. And these are mounted on the USGI issued MOLLE adapters, where you can sort of mount pouches on the side. Anyways, just opening this up. Again, radios at the back, nothing too special to mention here. TIR Tactical ambiter radio pouch. I think this is one of the newer versions with the buckles on the side. And then this is tubular nylon. Tubular nylon. I stole this design. Well, I stole this concept off Legionnaire Tactical again. But essentially, you could access your tubular nylon by pulling downwards on this tab. It will break the rubber bands and as well as the power cord, and you'll be able to access your tubular nylon, feet by feet from the back. And I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, we're going to do some rappelling stuff in the future, and it's good that we have this set up so that when we need to use it, we can. Forgot to mention, this is a TIR Tactical panel. This also doubles as a hydration pouch. So I got my source bladder there, used it for Most and West. It was pretty cool. Obviously water, again, can't stress it enough, super important for games. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, hand restraints as well. So these are by Safariland, but these sort of like hand restraints at the back I don't think it's super unique to CIF teams, but they definitely do it. You can mount it from the bottom, you can mount it at the top, you can run ones that are in black, but I thought this was most intuitive because you can just put it from the lower back, and it's just easier. Pretty little nice detail there, I think. And we run all of this on a tier back panel, so if we want to do like, you know, some CBRN-esque stuff, you know, shoot like another SCP video or some shit, we can always swap out our panels and run a C420. This one here is the one with the triple speed configuration, so if you're concerned about being kosher, being color correct, this is the one, this is the model you go for. But obviously on eBay you have like the single flip one as well, which is pretty cool. Breathing apparatus, again, works with this. So there was that. On to the right side of the cummerbund here, nothing special. Crazy. This is a Blue Force gear, single elastic pouch. It's just a pouch, nothing to note there. And then we have these shotgun shell panel, right? These panels, very prolific among CIF teams. I've seen it mostly on 7th group guys, maybe like a 10th group guy as well. In different colors, multicam, coyote brown, black as well. We have this set up now because we might be running shotguns in the future for games, for breaching stuff. So something we want to be familiar with and use in the future. This is the original design for this, I think, was also by 21st Century, but this I think is so easy to make that you know, even if the company operates on like a reduced capacity now, guys are still finding ways to sort of procure this stuff. This particular panel was made by a friend of a friend. And then in the back here I have a Benchmade SOP-P. This is the trainer, which I think was designed by a CIF dude or an ODA guy. Obviously with airsoft you don't really need to have a real knife. Pretty cool though as a trainer. Anyways, so moving to the side here, so pretty iconic Green Beret pouch or whatnot. I think Army guys also have this, but this is essentially a small GP pouch that's made by First Spear. I think this was a government overrun, and a lot of the ODAs have this as a I-5 pouch. It's literally just a pouch. That's it, but with a bit of elastic and internal lining. But it's a really sort of iconic piece with USA SOC, and you see most ODA guys run a pouch like this at some point in their career. Leatherman multi-tool pouch here. I saw a first group guy do this, and I thought it was pretty cool just to break up from the whole multicam monotone, having something black here on the side, and as well as you know, having readily access to multi-tools. And then two Tier Tactical flashbang pouches. Took this idea off a 10th group guy. Sort of goes to it's sort of in congruence with what, you know, the whole philosophy of the kit is, which is an assaulter / team leader. Having access to sort of bangers make a lot of sense to me. Moving on to the belt setup. So I've ran a couple of belts before, but including the Ronin Senshi and as well as the Tier Tactical, I think it's called Battle Belt or Rigger's Belt. But now I've really settled with the Sub-Second 2-piece belt. This specific model / color actually first appeared in, I think, with the 7th group guys during a competition match. Essentially, or structurally, I think it's the same belt as the Ronin Senshi, with the exception of these elastic loops that are integrated throughout the belt. So use it for what you will. I think you can stick like a TQ in there, but it's just a belt that has maximized its real estate in terms of function. Starting from here, we have a T-Rex Arms Kydex Mars Kydex mag pouch. I like these because I can cant these just ever so slightly so it doesn't dig into my torso. Ran these since forever, and then I'm super used to it as like my quick pistol reload. And then you have a Tier Tactical adjustable pistol pouch. You can use this for pretty much everything. Obviously I have a mag here for multi-tool, handheld flashlights, pepper spray, if you have. But it's multi-purpose. Blade Tech Kydex mag holster. I just installed this. I used to run a Tier Tactical adjustable rifle mag pouch with the 21st century elastic flap thing. Has worked really well for me, but I wanted to try the Blade Tech since some of the 10th group guys are using it, and I sort of like the aesthetic. Here I have a Tier Tactical quote-unquote dumb pouch, but I think it's called the Ordnance pouch. But it's essentially a dumb pouch. And dumb pouches are useful for carrying whatever you need, especially during big ops. Water mags are usually the things that you would stick in here, maybe a Capri Sun if you're cool. For regular skirmishes, I don't see a purpose of running a dumb pouch, so usually I just keep this folded up and in that configuration. Then I have a Blue Force Gear mini micro IFACT, and a micro IFACT has all the stuff that you need for being in the range. Obviously, I mentioned this before, it's not for me, it's for the range safety officers and the guys that actually know how to use this. Very likely I would take this belt to shooting overseas, so it's good to have that stuff around in case we need it. Over to the holster here, I have a Safariland 6453DO Kydex ALS holster. Usually it's where I keep my Tokyo Marui Gen 5 Glock 17. Obviously running the Delta Point here with the backup iron sights, and as well as a Surefire X300V. Set up this way because I saw some CIF dude set it up this way. In order to sort of have the Delta Point be compatible with the Safariland holster, you need to make like a small modification here. Essentially remove some of the material here, and as well as on the flip here, I don't know. You have to mod the holster if you want this to fit in. Camera guy thinks it's a big mod. I think it's a small mod. Yeah. Anyways, and then a Tier Tactical grenade pouch. I'm a small guy. I'm not a big guy. I've seen some guys run 2 grenade pouches, but I'm only running 1 here. And then usually you're not carrying grenades into airsoft games. So usually it's just for tissue, candy, batteries, whatever you can keep there. So there's that. And then going back to the lanyard here, this is a personal retention lanyard, I think. I used to run a Yates, but now I moved on to the Petzl one because first group, I think, with some of the recent PSD pictures, ran this type of helo retention lanyard. As I said before, we're going to do a bit of pelling stuff in the future, so I've just bought this in advance. It looks cool. I think it looks cooler than the Yates one. And there's that. And then also a bit of chem sticks here. 3-inch. We confirmed these were 3-inch chem sticks. We don't need to confirm it again. 3-inch chem sticks. Obviously on a sort of a wired retention device, and the idea is that you could pull these out with a bit of modification, and it's much easier to deploy it than to sort of fiddle with carabiners and whatnot. Experienced that firsthand in Muslim West. Couldn't deploy a chem stick because it was stuck on a carabiner. Anyways, we're pen gloves as well by Petzl, prolific throughout CIF teams. You can run them yellow and black. I think black is more common with 10th group, but both yellow and black ones work. And then also a general purpose like fanny pack. Saw a 10th group guy do this, but essentially I'll have this around the waist and sort of in this position. If you've noticed, the whole kit is very, there's not a whole lot of carrying capacity for the kit. So I have a general purpose pouch here just to keep my wallet, my phone, things that I need to keep close by, is probably why I have this here. Moving on to the helmet. This is a Offscore Maritime helmet with a 1 Tigris helmet cover. this one's in multicam black, and the my understanding is that any sort of, if you see a CIF guy with a black helmet, usually a sprayed one or one with a black helmet cover, usually indicates that he's probably a team leader. But I thought this was pretty cool, just to again break up from the whole multicam hell that's happening on the kit. So that's what I have here. And then on the side I have a SNS Precision max mount. This is for illumination obviously, but very prolific among the 7th group guys. I think the picture that I saw this with, along with the one Tigris helmet, everyone had a an SNS Precision max mount, so I have one here. Me, I'm tight as fuck. In the front here, BMVD 1431s, these are called. Nuts. Nothing special about nuts. And then I have a O generation L4G24 Wilcox mount. This one's in silver, tan, black. They all work, but silver looks a little cooler, a little, you know, non-conforming. So, and it's the first mount I bought, so I've stuck with it. And then with the headset system, it's the OpsCore amps. I ran the amps for a while now. I used to have a pair of Contact 3s. Those sort of faded into, you know, I've had them for 5 or 6 years. So I swapped out to the amps, and obviously because they were super cheap when I bought them. And then I have this mounted on a Peltor arc rail adapter. From the back here, I have a SNS Precision Mantis strobe. Obviously, when you're running nods, it's going to be dark. You need some form of identification device. This is more of a safety device actually, because it's so easy to lose guys in the dark. So I think most of us are running some form of IR illumination. And then here I have a PVS31 battery pack with the BMVD cable that goes to the nods, and this is all mounted on a Ferro Concept retention kit. On the inside, I mean, just consistent with the video we made, right? Yeah, like this. With the video we made, 40 pads, because the original Maritime pads fucking suck dick. And you know, having to pay for comfort is crazy, but this is what I use with the 40 pads. And then also we did the mod with the FTHS accessory kit, where essentially you have a piece of plastic here that helps prevent the helmet from tilting backwards, forward, when the nods are deployed. So this piece of plastic makes sure that the helmet is centered, and it doesn't put too much pressure directly onto your neck. Main reason is because we're not running any counterweight from the back, so this piece has been a lifesaver. And when we're not running nods, we're running GoPros, because we're LARPers, we make videos. Okay, moving on to the last part here. Onto the rifle. This is a 7th group clone build. Essentially, it's new RGI. You have the usual suspects, right? The aim point, unity mount, the Angal. This is by Somagear. The Surefire with the IR function, and as well as the Geisley handguard with the Daniel Defense government profile outer barrel. And then I have a this is made by Angry Gun, but it's supposed to be the mod tac suppressor shield. The problem is it doesn't interface well with the real Geisley handguard. Essentially, if you have this mount mounted, you can't install Angry Gun's own MOG suppressor, which is crazy, because I paid like $200 US for this. That this is empty, but you know, Angry Gun, fix your shit.
Yeah, fuck Angry.
It's crazy. And then for the butt stock, you have a loophole cheek riser, rubber stock, and just a BCM pistol grip here. So nothing special. Obviously MWS GBB with a blue training bolt and a Frank Proctor sling, because those are quite cool. And then obviously we have just for media purposes, this is a MOG suppressor by Angry Gun with the integrated BB tracer unit, and then this is a blue can training blue can. I've had this for I think 5 years, 6 years. I fell on this. Because I'm a retard. So I guess that's it, right? I think we part from here. You know, if you guys have any questions about building CIF kits, you know, why there's a piece of tape on the holster, it's because extra tape helps the breacher, you know, attach, you know, the breech charge onto the door. If you have questions like that, you know, you feel a little autistic, want to ask some dangerous questions, feel free to DM us, and we're around. Hey, does this thing actually work, by the way? No? Hey, I think it kind of, dude.
No. Hey. You can't keep getting away with it.
Cheek riser, enhanced buffer stock rubber. I don't know. Stock, CTR stock. Yes, but this is a MWS. Holy shit, kill me. Oh my god, I got a pack for my game. I'm a stupid. And then with gloves, these are Ferro Concept FR gloves, and I think these are gun gloves. I'd say you know find what's comfortable for you first before considering what's clone correct. I think gloves are the piece of garment that you interact the most with when you're on the field playing, along with your shoes actually. So find something that's comfortable first and clone correct second. I think that's my most important takeaway from that. This is a face cover. It's a black face cover, prolific among any CIF teams, I think. Seventh Group recently had a bunch of guys with black face covers. This one's made by Dryfire. I've had this forever. But obviously other type of any face cover works. You know, you could use the one by Norarms, you could use the one by Arc'teryx, you could use one from Timo, from AliExpress. It doesn't matter. Have something to cover your face, because it's not worth having a scar on your face because you're playing BB Wars. That's just my take. Maybe it looks cool. Maybe you think it looks cool. I don't know.